All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Ephraim. Today's date is February 5th, 2023. I want to welcome all my new subscribers and older alike. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and select all. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a new presentation. Now, today, what I want to bring forth, since we have a whole new bunch of new subscribers, is I wanted to introduce the quote unquote lost children or the lost tribe of Ephraim in uh, the Yoruba tribe out of Africa, West Africa, in Yoruba. Okay, there's a strong oral history for the E1B1A7A, which I've identified by grace and mercy of the Most High as Ephraim. I brought forth last week my personal DNA data, which clearly showed my DNA back in what it was present day Palestine, but of course that's ancient Judea, and it showed my DNA actually leaving that area. That migrational pattern that showed it. And I took mine over 8 years ago. Of course, things are so much different now. I knew it was, but I think this week I'm going to do a comprehensive E1B1A and E1B1B lesson. So look out for that next week. Make sure you hit that subscribe and hit select all so you'll be notified when I upload it. But and I was excited when I petitioned the Most High, about who I was and what He would have me do, and He set me on this journey about reckoning my genealogy, and I was really excited just to find out that I traced my genealogy back to Yoruba, Nigeria. That was exciting for me because not too many so-called African Americans know where they come from or what nation they derive from or whatever. So for me being able to put a tribe with that in itself before anything else was exciting to me. It was kind of emotional. I'm like, wow, I finally could trace back where my ancestors came from. They where they were, because back in West Africa was the slave hub, right? So that was exciting. You know what I'm saying? It was exciting. It was emotional, but I mean, it didn't stop there though. I had to find out the full truth. So I did that. Took a couple of those DNA tests or whatever, and was able to trace and research. I mean, it consumed me. The level of research I wanted to do on this thing because I wanted to be sure when I brought it forth, that I would be on solid ground, right? But see, history, would have us all believe that the so-called 10 lost tribes of Israel just walked out of history, just sort of disappeared. No, they didn't. Now, I don't think, like for example, the tribe, any members from the tribe of Dan made it to North America. But then, I mean, I can't say that totally exclusively 100%, right? But no, the so-called 10 lost tribes aren't lost at all. They're just scattered all around, and the Bible speaks of that. You can't circumvent God's word, right? He said that He was going to scatter the children of Israel from one end of the earth to the other. Now, are there Nigerians or people in Yoruba who don't accept or identify us as being uh, Israelites or Hebrew? Yeah, of course. I mean, you have to think about it, man. I mean, we're so far removed from who we are. It's just, I mean, and to be honest with you, a lot of us are just so far gone. We can't, our minds can't fathom that. It just, when I say our, I mean our collectively, not mine personally, right? Our minds just can't fathom that. And I mean, that's from just years and years and years and years of just, being, reprogrammed and fed disinformation and that disinformation being passed down from generation to generation. I mean, to where it's like, a lot of our people are so far gone to, I mean, I don't even know how we're going to get them back. So my thing is, you pray and petition God to open your spiritual ears so that you can hear, and hopefully you'll hear it and attach to it, and because it's important. Your salvation depends on this. The salvation of your children, the salvation of your mother, father, grandparents, if they're still alive. So it's important to know who you really are, because how can we be a beacon of light to the world if we don't even know who we are? So yeah, there are Yorubas that don't claim or believe that we're Israelites. I mean, heck, there are Igbos that believe the same thing. So with our seed being so mixed in, you have to understand that's a given. And I stand on this, man. You know, the Bible says, although Israelites are as the sand of the sea, only a remnant will be returned unto God. And what that means is that, I mean, because of our seed mixing all over the world, stuff like that, like the Most High knows who's Israel. The Most High doesn't need DNA. That DNA knowledge is for us, so we would know. Continuity sake, He knows who's who, right? So that's not for Him. But it's a lot. It's just a lot of us all where we're all over. We're just so scattered, man. We mixed in with pretty much every seed on earth. So anyway, that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the little history of the Yoruba Jews, which is my Y-DNA E1B1A7A. Um, I'm gonna do a pretty comprehensive Y-DNA on the E1B1A and E1B1B probably sometime this week. Don't hold me to it, but I've been working on it, so I'll probably bring it forth this week if it's ready, or next week rather. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the history of the Yoruba Jews, tribe of Ephraim, the E1B1A7A. Let's get it. So keep in mind, with these oral stories of our people, when we got mixed in with all these different Hamitic, tribes. Um, for many of you who don't know, and I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, that the original Canaanites were Hamitic Africans. Part of the Yorubas who are Hamitic believes that, the Yoruba, the nation started from a Hamitic tribe, right? Or Hamitic people. But so when the E1B1A7A, and I'll get into that, got there, they didn't recognize them because they thought they were strange. Their customs, the way they spoke with a mixture of like kind of Hebrew and Moroccan language or whatever the case may be. So it was like they was just kind of all over the place. But when you have different, and that's what happens when you mix in with different people. You're going to get different ideologies. You're going to get different histories, if you will. So just keep that in mind with this particular story as well. Okay. Now it says the father of the Yoruba people, Oduduwa, allegedly from the Hamitic side of things, said Oduduwa traveled with Gad's sons. Of course, Gad is Israel, Eri, Arilai, and Arodai from North Africa, likely Egypt, and settled in what today is known as Nigeria. This would coincide with Yoruba oral history that they believe to come from outside of West Africa, and thus it would be no surprise that we might find Israelites, Hebrews, and the Jews among the Yoruba. Now, Oduduwa was said to be a descendant of Ham, so apparently he's Hamitic, or at least claimed that he was, through Nimrod. So now, if he did come through Nimrod, he was definitely a Hamite. All right, also called Lamarudu. This, according to Yoruba Christian Samuel Johnson in 1880. Sultan Bello, Caliph of Sokoto, was quoted in 1820 by Hugh Clapperton to have said that the Yoruba people were descendants of a Canaanite tribe. And S.O. Abiyaku, a Nigerian historian, claimed the Yorubas to originate from the Sudan, or what was known as Ethiopia. See, Cush, Ethiopia, Ham, E1B1B. However, the flip side, some say that Yoruba is actually a corruption of the name Jacob or Yakub. Others assert that Yoruba is from Yarubal, the people of Baal. But the current Yoruba Jewish population, who claimed to come from the Israeli tribe of Ephraim, was said to have been driven to Yoruba land from Morocco by Muslims and eventually mingled with Yoruba people. These quote-unquote black Jews in southern Nigeria are called the Imo Yokaim, or strange people, by the native Africans. But these black Jews call themselves B'nai Ephraim, or the children of Ephraim. These Jews, who claim that their ancestors came from Morocco, is supported by their language, which appears to be a mixture of Maghrebi Arabic and local Negro speech. Thus, Abu, father, or Abba, has become Yaba from the Hebrew word Abba, and is M from the Hebrew Ima. Nevertheless, most of their language is similar to the Yorubas around them. These Yoruba, the sons of Ephraim, observed certain Jewish customs, among which are the great holy days, naming of children on the 8th day, etc. In almost every way, these black Jews are like the Yorubas and are hardly distinguishable from them, except some outstanding Hebrew observances. Where did they get that from? Let us continue. But there is doubt whether any from this group exists today among the Yoruba. Yeah, right. He said there is a clan among Yoruba people called the Iju, which is believed to be a corruption of the word Hebrew or Jew. They are looked down upon by the rest of the Yoruba for displaying Igbo-like character and traits, one of which is business prowess. There is even a town in Yoruba land called Iju Igbo. Much of the Iju people resent and deny this connection with them and the Nidi Igbo. I wonder why. It says Yorubas and the neighboring nationalities located in Nigeria have this tradition of an origin extraneous to West Africa. Hugh Clapperton in 1820s reported a work which asserted that the Yorubas were descended from Palestine. And again, we all know Palestine. That's what it's called now. But Palestine is ancient Judea. All right, there's no denying that. That's Israel all day. Okay. Around the 1880s, Samuel Johnson, a Yoruba Christian, also wrote a book that made similar claims for Yoruba origins as Sultan Bellos. In 1880, Johnson naively sent this work to the Church Missionary Society in England for review and publication. Yeah, okay, wonder how that went. The Church Missionary Society suppressed the manuscript upon realizing the explosive information it contained. The society declared the book lost. Yeah. It was not until 1923 that Johnson's brother was able to publish an edited copy of this work. Johnson's thesis was the Yorubas were, Johnson's thesis was that the Yorubas were descended from Lamarudu, Nimrod, the first king of Mesopotamia. Johnson died in 1901. I remember, y'all, I told you this is what happens when you mix. When we were scattered and we mixed into these Hamitic tribes, you have all these different views of and histories and this and that, mixing them together, and that's why it's like they are all over the place, right? Have some believe this, some believe that, some say this, some say that. I mean, that you're going to get that. That's going to be that's pretty much the norm with us, mixing in with these Hamitic tribes in Africa. I mean, we're all still under haplogroup E, right? We have our own haplotype, but we all fall under haplogroup E. Okay, the Israelites and the Hamites, we all fall under haplogroup E. Haplogroup E, and I'll deal with this in the comprehensive study of it, is the major haplogroup of Africa. Period. So anyway, more on that later. But it says in 1955. Abiyaku, a Nigerian historian and scholar, claimed a Meorite origin, Sudan and ancient Ethiopia, Kush for the Yorubas. Emmanuel Ugahulu, another respected Nigerian scholar, claimed a Hebrew origin for the Isan tribe. Isan is part of the greater Edo nation, which is related to the Yoruba nation of Nigeria. Efek traditions claims that the Efeks originated in Palestine. Here we go, Palestine again. There's no escaping it. Crossed the Sahara and arrived Nigeria via Sudan. The Efeks are located in the southeastern corner of Nigeria. The B'nai Ephraim, or the children of Ephraim from Nigeria, live among the Yoruba nationalities. Their oral history tells that the B'nai Ephraim people came from Morocco after the Jews were banished from the Iberian Peninsula sometime in 1492. They speak a dialect that is a mixture of Moroccan Arabic, Yoruba, and Aramaic. Now let's pause. Why would they be speaking a mixture of Aramaic? Because remember, when the Syrians took over, they banned Hebrew and replaced Hebrew with Aramaic. Ha! Let's continue. They are known by the Yoruba people as the Imo Yokaim, or strange people. Now, some people claim that that we were always there. We were already there. I mean, me personally, if we were already there, if we met our own people when we got over there from Morocco, we wouldn't be a strange people to them. That doesn't make sense. They would be vaguely, even if vaguely familiar, they would be familiar with the Hebrewish and the Israelite customs. They wouldn't be looking at us aside. I like who are y'all and why do y'all do these strange things? Like they didn't know us and we didn't know them. They asked us who we were. So, is it true that a lot of us are already there? I really couldn't tell you either way. All I know is that when the E1B1A7A got to Yoruba, we met a group of people, whether they were genetically Israelites or genetically Yoruba, Hamites. I don't know. I'm not going to even belabor or argue the point. The point is they didn't know who we are. We didn't look familiar to them. So you can surmise whatever you can from that, but they did not know. They didn't know us. We didn't know them, and they called us a strange people. Okay. Um, it says that the name Lagos, born by the former capital of Nigeria, is a Portuguese Iberian name meaning the lake. Oh, I never knew that. Lagos is an island carved up by the lagoons, swamps, and lakes. Its traditional Nigerian name is Eco or Echo. Thousands of black refugee Jews of Iberia resettled in the environs of Lagos and Porto Novo, as well as in Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, and Sao Tome, either as slaves or outlaws. Some groups eventually made it deeper inland and became assimilated into one nationality or the other. The B'nai Ephraim provides a living and irrefutable proof of this barely known history of mass Jewish resettlement in West Africa between 1492 and 1692, a 200-year nonstop return of Jews to Africa. This set of Moorish refugees are not to be confused with more ancient Hebrew and Canaanite tribes that have been living in Nigeria and from African countries for thousands of years. The B'nai Ephraim did not settle with the Yorubas by accident or chance. They recalled that a body of their people had depart Canaan in the ancient times and settled in the present-day Yoruba areas of Nigeria, just like their own group, the B'nai Ephraim, had settled in Iberia. So when it happened that they had to leave Iberia in a hurry to protect their lives and freedom, those Moorish Iberian Jews sailed on their network of ships to Nigeria, Africa, near Lagos, among the Yorubas, their relation by blood, their greater nationality. Awake, ye ancient Moorish Hebrews of Africa, awake. You have nothing to lose but your ignorance and weakness. The earth is your inheritance and rightful legacy. The truth lies in your history, hidden until these times. But I tell you what, man, our people just, I don't know what it is, man, but the majority, well, I take that back. I do kind of understand and know what it is. Like I said, we're so far gone, man. Our mind can't fathom us being Israel. We can't fathom that. Why? I mean, because first of all, I mean, you got to figure for over 400 plus years, however long it's been, we've never known that. We believed that we just came from Africa somewhere and we got to this land. We were slaves at first, and then they let us go, and now we're just now we're African Americans. We went through all these different names of who we are and all this and that, and we don't have a clue who we really are, where we came from. And the sad part is that a lot of us don't care. I mean, really, a lot of us don't care about that. People want to believe what they want to believe for whatever reason. You understand? I mean, so I mean, as far as that from that standpoint, it is what it is. But I mean, we're so far gone, man. I mean, the thing about it is, our Christian brothers and sisters, they believe wholeheartedly that they're doing, what's right. So how can you condemn them? You know what I'm saying? When we basically doing what we feel and knowing our heart is right, and they feel the same way. So you understand what I'm saying? So it's like how can you judge them other than just say give them the words and let the Holy Spirit speak to them and maybe get their attention, and they'll take to it. They'll be one of the remnants, right? But anyway, man, that's the history of the children of Ephraim, the E1B1A7A, right? There's no denying and no doubt that the E1B1A7A, which is my Y-DNA haplotype, started out in ancient Judea, okay, and we migrated out. Rather, we were sold into slavery, or however we got to northern Africa and Morocco, whatever, we ended up over there under the Muslims and the Arab Muslims or whatever. And so supposedly they tried to force the E1B1A7A to convert to Islam. They rejected that and they fled and ended up in West Africa, in Yoruba. All right, that's the oral history of the E1B1A7A. That's my line. Okay, so there it is. That's the prototype for basically the transatlantic slave trade. Because majority of us were E1B1A. I'm sorry, E1B1A, Igbo and Yoruba. I believe that probably, I think by the numbers, there's probably more Igbos than Yorubas that went into the transatlantic slave trade, but we were right there. Okay, and then you never know. It might have been some, a couple other people from other tribes, caught up in that. You never really know. It could be some Benjamins or some, because you got to remember the Southern Kingdom is Judah, Benjamin, and some Levites, right? And then and don't forget the tribe of Dan. Tribe of Dan didn't disappear, man. And they're still our brothers, man. Their DNA is still here on this earth, man. They are still one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Don't let no one tell you differently. Okay, eventually I'm gonna do a lesson on them, man. The tribe of Dan, in search of the tribe of Dan, for real, because they ain't lost, man. But anyway, I wanted to bring that forth. We got a lot of new people, man. Like I said, I want to thank you all for your continued support. I want you to continue to like the videos, make the comments, man. And I mean, the subscribers are just blowing up, man. It really is. I mean, I'm humbled and honored by that. And thank you all. And I'll continue to try to engage, as much as possible, man. We fight no algorithm game, but I think eventually we just keep at it. We're going to break through, man. So I appreciate you all. Until next lesson, this is Dr. Ephraim signing off, saying Shalom, elect.